Hello and welcome to Mechwarrior Online. This is my review of the Marauder, kind of like an update. And this is the Marauder 3R, or what I affectionately refer to as Vera. And Vera is a reference to Jane Cobb and Firefly. It's his favorite gun of all time, and any man who stands in front of it is going to end up in a chalk outline, even if they're in space. You got to watch Firefly to understand that joke. Anyway, or reference. So this has four medium lasers and three rack 2s. God, I can't talk today. And I went with this bloody concept because it just absolutely displays it perfectly. The most damage I've ever done in any match was done in this build, in this particular mech. And at one time or another, I actually had two of these built the exact same way, because then I could take two of them into faction play or event play. And the same thing with my Nova Cats. I have two Nova Cat Bs, and I have two of a couple other mechs as well. And that just throws the damage out. I did 1,480 damage. I ran out of ballistics and just kept firing the lasers until I finished it off. I ended up with 4 kills and I think 3 solos. And you can do that kind of damage easily because I'm not that great a player. So as you can see, 4 medium lasers, not ER mediums. The ER mediums, they soak in just a little bit more heat, and this is not a very heat efficient build, but it seems to work really well for me. As you can see, I loaded up on ammo. I'm running 3 rack 2s. And they do have jam chance, or jam guarantee. But this is one of the few builds you'll ever hear me talk about where I don't trash talk the fact that I hate racks. Or autocannons. Of any kind. The rotaries are one of the few exceptions to my rule about autocannons. So what do we got here? 6 tons of ammo. The 4 medium lasers. A heatsink here and then a double heatsink here. Occasionally I will take the laser AMS out and go with a targeting computer, but I run it back and forth and it really doesn't seem to make much difference for me. Yes, I am running 2 armor in the rear on this mech. I'm not too worried about it, and the reason is because clan mechs I'd be a little bit worried. Maybe on a heavy mech, on a medium mech I wouldn't even think about it. And on light mechs, I usually run 1 or 2 in the rear. But Intersphere mechs, they just have a little bit better armor, in my opinion, better structure. So the heat management on this is 1.09, which would make Bardol throw up in his mouth, because he would just absolutely hate that. But the firepower is 119, speed is 63.7. Not really fast. And of course, this is an Intersphere mech, so there's no omnipods. What do we got here, though? I don't run PPCs, so I don't care. But velocity, plus 30%. So base armor, right torso, you're getting plus 10. And that's because of the ballistic weapon mounts. And then base structure, left torso and right torso, you're getting plus 16. Base structure, left arm and right arm, you're getting plus 12. And then on the legs, you're getting plus 16 for structure. So that's really, really nice. Now, how have I loaded up on this guy? Now, this is not a missile build, so this is a little bit different. So I didn't go full range on this because I feel the rack 2s already, the rack 2s already have pretty good range. But I wanted to get maximum range out on my medium lasers, and that's the only reason I added this on here. I could have gone with the ER medium lasers, but I would also have to deal with more heat. So this is kind of giving me the best of both worlds. A little bit. But I did max that on heat generation. I went with velocity. Of course, I went with additional magazine capacity and jam chance reduction. Full density, armor hardening, a little bit of reinforced casing. I almost never, ever get into the high heat because I manage the heat really well in my override. and I'm always running override on my mechs. Even on a Gauss build, I'll put override on. I just like the neon sign. But I do have AMS overload. And when I take this off here, sometimes I will add the armor here, so you can see these have been skilled up a little bit. And I've played it back and forth, and it really doesn't make a huge difference. Additional armor in the form of cool run and heat containment, because to me, being able to keep your internals is kind of like extra armor. That's how I justify that. Definitely seismic sensor, because I like to be able to detect mechs around corners and stuff, especially if I'm about to pounce. The best way to go about this with this mech, because of the weapons platform that's on the right side of the mech, is to make left turns around corners, so that way you can expose the least amount of your mech to fire. Versus if you go around the right side, if you're making right turns around a structure, you have to expose the entire mech in order to just get the ballistics on target. So you want to think about that. And also, once again, when you're shielding, you want to twist to the right, so that way you're protecting your primary weapon system. Your lasers, they're secondary at best. I've actually seen builds where people don't even put them on there. They just go with 3 rack 2s, or I've seen them go with 2 rack 5s and not even bother with weapons on the arms. And I've seen some pretty successful matches. Radar deprivation, absolutely a must. No ECM here, so you want to add that. Advanced zoom, absolutely, and of course 2 cool shots on a UAV. Weapons groups, this is how I recommend it. I have the highest mount on button 1, so that way I can fire this one up and over the top of targets, so that if I can see it, I can shoot this. I can technically see it with this, but I don't want to have to expose any more of my mech than I have to when I'm dealing with hilly terrain like Polar Highlands or HPG manifold. I like to go up on the ramp a little bit, but not have to go all the way and expose my mech. So those are some things to consider. And then I have button 2 operating the other 2 guys that are lower on the torso. So that's how I do that. And then I just have button 3 operating the 4 medium lasers. And once again, they're just a close quarters weapon. In the event that I lose a torso or something, I'm probably going to have 2 of these lasers left at best, but at least I have something. I've actually seen also builds where people will 2 X-pulse medium lasers in the left arm. And I guess that from a point of view, that does make sense. But if you're using your left side to shield with, chances are you might lose these at some point or another. So, it's just something to think about. I open up my odds this way, and I've run this with small X-pulse lasers, and I've liked that. I think I might switch back. But I do like the fact that the medium lasers have that nice burst where, you're really just pouncing in on the damage. The nice thing about the X-Pulse, of course, is that they fire fairly often, but they don't do a lot of damage. Yeah, so this is my review of this guy. This is just absolutely a great mech. I really love this build, and I really recommend this highly if you just want that sound, just that absolute sound. It's just an amazing sound. Anyway, I hope you like it, and check out the brief video coming up with this.